What's up, guys? Um, I just thought I would get on here and record some things I've been wanting to say, about the current state of Wizard101 PVP. I really think that ever since these PvP changes that have been pushed out to make the game better, it's actually made the game a lot worse. Like, not right away, like at first, the first few updates were good, and then I would say it really went downhill when the Caramel update dropped and they separated PvP into different leagues, which is good, but there was also different things that came with that update that made the game worse, like enchants, pre-enchants being taken away, like that just a lot of different things happened after that update that made the game worse. Obviously, Rochambo's came into play as well later, and that just completely just hurt the game. I'm just gonna tell what I've been thinking, and why I think that the game PvP wise has definitely gone downhill over the last few years. It's pretty sad to see. I was addicted to this game. I love this game. Like, I played it every single day. Now I barely get on like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Sometimes I don't get on for like 3 weeks, and there's really nothing to do on this game anymore besides like quest when the new world comes out. I remember back in the day, okay, so we're gonna go back before all the PvP changes happened. Back before PvP changes happened, what I would do on this game was play ranked PvP. I would do low level PvP, I would do Magus PvP, I'd do Legend, I'd do Exalt, I do Max, I do every single level of PvP that was playable. Obviously, we don't have that anymore. We only have the 3 different leagues. We don't have Magus or any of that low level stuff, which is, I guess, I mean, it's not like one of the biggest problems that I'm going to talk about. But another thing that I would love to do on this game was play tournaments with friends. We do 2v2s all the time. Me and my friends would do 2v2s, 3v3s, and 4v4s all the time. I'd even do 1v1s literally all the time. I had like so many tickets. I have so many trophies in my house, like overflowing, because I've done so many tournaments. But you can't even do tournaments anymore. Let me see if I can find the house where they're at. You can't even do tournaments anymore because the way that the game has been changed. The tournaments don't give tickets anymore, which is one reason why people don't do it anymore. But the other reason is because of all the different gameplay changes that they've done to the game to make the game be unplayable, besides in ranked 1v1. For example, they've slowed down the game. They've slowed it down in a way. I don't really know how to explain it, but it feels like the game is slower, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But basically, you can't do team PvP anymore because they've taken out pre-enchants, so you can't pack hits inside, which was really a big deal in team PvP. You can't do 2v2 for the same reason, and 3v3 for the same reason. You'll go to timer. There's a 30-minute timer in tournaments, and that's not enough anymore because they've removed pre-enchants. They've removed enchants altogether. They made Virulent Plague 2 pips despite people literally telling them that was a terrible idea, but they were like, oh, we'll just address it whenever we get around to addressing team PvP. But that's probably not going to happen for until 2025. It's just, they should have just left the game how it was, honestly, compared to now. This is my house with all the trophies and stuff that I have in it. This is just some of the trophies. I also have a ton on other characters and stuff. Excuse the lag. My computer is bad. I'm at my parents' house for my brother had a birthday party, so I was up here celebrating that. So I brought my computer. It's a bad computer, but anyway, going back to what we were talking about earlier with the fact that the game has just become more unplayable. There's so many problems with team PvP that didn't exist before, and that's just one aspect. But that just kills the entire premise of tournaments. And you can't do 1v1 tournaments anymore because the timer's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you can't kill your opponent during that time. You used to be able to do that. So that's also made it so you can't play those things anymore. But then there's also another activity that I used to do all the time, which was practice 4v4 and practice PvP. I would literally do practice PvP, even 1v1 all the time. But there was a huge community of people that did practice 4v4 all the time. I'm telling you, there was 5 matches of max level practice PvP going on at pretty much any time of the day, up until the Caramel update when they ruined the PvP queue and made it so that you basically can't do practice anymore. So let's go over, we're gonna see how many people are actually doing practice PvP today. And I would predict there's probably only 1 or 0 that are doing it. Let's see. Yep. Okay, yep. Look, it's so dead. It's so dead. Practice used to have a ton of matches being ready to go. There's no 4v4s going on. There would always be 4v4s going on. There's one person that's gonna wait until like they grow old and for people to like join this. You can't, like, people don't do this stuff anymore because you can't. And another reason why I say you can't is because they did these queue updates where you have to be exalted, you have to be max, you have to be this level, you have to be level 50 in order to even PvP at all. Like, it's insane. So basically, another big problem that I have with this is the fact that you can't PvP with your friends. Say you're an exalted wizard and you want to PvP with some max levels, or even a level 130 wizard. You can't even PvP with your friends because it makes you join in this queue. So for example, back in the day, like, people would do exalted and join like with their max, like an exalted jade or something like that. But exalteds can't join because of this stupid queue thing where you have to join here, you know? So if I was to try to join here on my exalted, it wouldn't work. And if I went over here on my exalted to do practice PvP, I could only do practices with other exalteds. I couldn't join max matches, and there's nobody that does practice exalted PvP because they killed practice PvP. So you can't even do PvP unless you're in these level brackets, which kills the queue. Kills the queue. It's another big problem. So we're gonna get into some of the things that I really think hurt the game. One is Rochambos, and now I know what a ton of people are thinking. They're like, oh, like Rochambos are like amazing. They offer so much counterplay and everything. Well, yeah, this is, I don't even know what this deck is. Rochambo's offer counters, but they also provide so many problems to the game. Like, for example, with turn-based, to counter healing in turn-based, first of all, healing is like, man, it's such a mess. Like, it used to be literally balanced, I would say, before they did all these PvP changes. I think the biggest thing that hurt healing was making heals not do ×2. Obviously now you couldn't make them do ×2 because they've changed the meta so much that damage isn't even like it used to be. But back in like when 130 was the max, I would say that's when PvP was the best since like pre-Darkmoor. I didn't play pre-Darkmoor. I didn't play PvP back then, but I've seen a lot of videos, and I have friends that played it back then, and I used to watch a ton of videos. Like, I was addicted when I was younger. I literally like watched so many videos on PvP. Like, so I know how PvP worked back then, even though I didn't play it. And besides like pre-Darkmoor, I would say that like when 125, like between 120 and 130 was when PvP was the best. And that was like right when they were like starting to do the PvP changes. They still didn't like implement a lot of them, but like even before they even started the PvP changes, PvP was better than it is now by a mile. Like, so one thing about Rochambos is, so if you want to counter healing, right, you put an infection on somebody, and what you would do back when PvP was good, like literally in 2019 or 2020, you would slowly over the match, like for example on my balance, when I was playing another balance, like you can both heal, right, you can both recover. So what you want to do is like slowly put on infections, you know, over time, over the course of the match, while you're beating them down, while you're healing yourself. And then when they were in, like, if they didn't take off the infections, when they got in trouble, like when you started going full offensive mode, they could not keep up because they were clogged down with infections. They couldn't recover, you know. So that was how you stopped healing if you were a good player. But now you can just Rochambo off all the infections. Like, it's so stupid. And people are like, oh, then only put on one infection. Okay, yeah, you can do that, but it does not counter healing if you can only use one infection, because they can just take it off and then you have to like pull another infection, or you have to clog your hands with infections instead of putting them all on. Like, when they're trying to get off infections, you should be able to do other things like go offensive, which is like what you used to do, because they would have multiple infections on them. But now you can't do that, because if you go, if they start taking off infections, you need to put the other one on the next turn, because you can't stack them because of Rochambos. Another thing is this card. I don't think this card should be in the game if Rochambo is taken out, because this would be too overpowered. But another thing is the hit and heal spells are a super bad idea. Like, you should not be able to go on the offense and heal at the same time, because for one, you can take off infections and prepare for a bigger heal, and two, you can go offensive. So it just makes it even harder to counter healing. And I know that people are like complaining about healing now. Me personally, I think all schools should be able to heal, and no school can heal except for life. Let's be honest here, like right now. So that's another thing that Rochambo's did. Rochambo is just so stupid. Like, I'm sorry. The concept worked good in Beast Moon, but PvP, any good PvP player will tell you that Rochambos are bad for the game. Like, they just are. You can't, like, set up, like, you can't blade up. Like, obviously, blade spamming is stupid. Like, you blade every round. And that only became a problem when they removed Enfeeble. And me and literally other PvP players that were high ranked, like when they were proposing to ban Enfeeble because content creators love their blade stack strategies, they were like, oh, I can't blade stack on a death because I get Enfeebled. My whole strategy is countered by one card. Well, then get a better strategy. Blade spamming is not a good strategy if you can encounter it with Enfeeble. And Enfeeble kept that in check. But once they removed Enfeeble, then everybody started blading. So they're like, oh, we need to put in Rochambos. But like back in the day, like you could like put on 3 blades, and like if you got Enfeebled, your opponent would be down 2 pips and you wouldn't like completely lose. But like putting on like 2 different blades and one same blade, and then like striking like Frostbite into Weaver, like that was a good like combo, you know? Like you're trying to like do some things there. Now it's like you can only put up 1 blade because of Rochambos, and it's literally, the game has been dumbed down so much with Rochambos because you can only put on 1 blade, and the person likes, oh, they're like, oh, a blade, let me weakness. It's like, okay, you can weakness. But back in the day, you would put on 3 blades, they put on a weakness, you can take it off and stuff. They can put on 1 weakness, and then you use up the weakness and your 2 blades, and you still have a buff damage hit, and you have a follow-up that's buff. But you can't do that anymore because of Rochambos. You can't do anything but do something once with Rochambos. And that just dumbs down the game, because people can counter like 1 blade so much easier than they can 3 blades. They can counter 1 infection. They can literally counter 1 infection so easily, versus back in the day before Rochambos, you could stack infections, you know. And also another thing is Rochambos, if you infection somebody, you can't even weakness them, or else they'll just Rochambo and it'll be great value. It's literally so stupid. And especially this spell right here, the Ice Snowman spell, is one of the dumbest spells ever, because it removes 2 weaknesses, so you cannot infection an ice. You can't infection ice. Like at low level, this is so dumb. Let me tell you, because you want to stop them from healing. It's so stupid. Like back in the day, you could put an infection on and they would have to use a heal to get it off. People didn't pack cleanse charms. Like they could if they were good, but people wouldn't do that, you know? I wouldn't do that. I just take it off with a heal, but you're using a pip and stuff for that, and this is 0 pips, so you're already outvaluing them. But now it's just Rochambo, you can do whatever you want. You can play like an idiot because of Rochambos, and people are like, oh, you're just saying that because you don't know how to counter Rochambos. No, I literally can easily counter Rochambos. You don't need a brain cell like to deal with Rochambos. Like you just pack more Rochambos than the other person. Like it's so stupid. I was doing like 2 matches just for the sake of it to see what PvP is like. And look at all these Rochambos. These cards are horrible for the game. Like they are so bad. And Gambits are pretty stupid too. Don't get me started on them. Especially the shield ones. Like they're so dumb. Just a very bad thing to put in the game. And they're starting to make these spells be Rochambo Center too, which is a horrible idea. Because, for example, like so I can Wyvern somebody, puts on traps, then they Centaur, and then it puts on blades. And then I can Wyvern them again, puts on traps, then they Centaur again, takes it off, puts on blades. It's literally ping pong, back and forth, until somebody doesn't have the right card to counter it. That's not how PvP should be. It shouldn't be like that. That is so brain dead. You're like, oh, you see this card that you counter this simple thing with? Oh, let me use it. It's like, bro, come on. Like PvP used to be so much more complex. They have like ruined PvP with all these updates. I'm sorry, I'm just saying it how it is. Like, let's see the leaderboards here. I haven't even competitively done PvP in this age. Like I've messed around. Like a few eras ago, I like healed on ice because I was like, let me do that before everybody gets 200 damage and you can't heal on anybody anymore. But life, I was like, let me just mess around and have some fun. So I messed up and stuff. messed around, you know, which obviously I lost because like healing on ice, you know, it's not that good. But I literally was positive, and I was just doing that for fun. Let's see, the leaderboard. So I just kind of PvP for fun now. Like I'll go in with 100 storm resist and just mess around with storms, just mess around with stupid stats. Like rank means nothing to me anymore, and like a lot of people that would agree with me on that. Like I have like all my friends, literally every single one of my friends from like back in the day, like literally 2 years ago, has quit PvP. Like they've quit the game altogether because it's just so bad compared to what it used to be. Like it's so bad. I don't even remember what I was doing looking at this leaderboard. What was I going to say? It's like you don't, like there's only a few people with this much rank, and like they play a lot. They're pretty good. They've adapted pretty well. But like, dude, like back in the day, there was a lot of people that were like high rank and good at the game. Like there was a lot of boosters actually. So I never boosted, but there was a lot of boosters. So maybe that's not even a good thing to bring up. But it just feels like anybody can be good at the game and anybody can win at the game because it's so simple. Like the meta is so simple now. Like every single new meta, there's a cheap strategy that comes out and then it gets nerfed because people cry about it. And the different metas, like they don't have enough time to like solidify, and people don't have enough time to adapt because they change the meta literally all the time. Like they nerf and buff things all the time. It's like monotonous. So you can't like sit down, study the meta, and get like good at it like you used to be able to. Like back in the day, you could like be like, oh, this is how PvP works. Let me like make my balance word pet because Lore Master was OP. Let me like study and do things like, you know, and get better at the game. Now it's like, oh, let me just like stop PvPing and wait for them to nerf this and then nerf that, and then a new thing will be broken. And people don't have time to like adjust to the meta and like make pets and stuff. Like it's always changing. Like I know that the new ice thing to do is like Colossus spam. I have like one in my deck because I'm not trying to do that. And you're like supposed to train traps and everything, and it's like, dude, that's not PvP, that's one-shotting. And it's like people are like, I don't know, it's just a mess, man. Like I don't know how to explain it all, but PvP is just so bad to compared to what it used to be. Yeah, it's just, there's so many problems, and the fact that Rochambos are being pushed and like made into the new main thing of the game with like the, what is it, new spells. Like they're making everything Rochambo centered. That's such a bad idea. Like, come on, man. Honestly, the only competitive PvP that I've done this meta is like at Exalted, and I was able to hit Marshall on Exalted. But other than that, I haven't even tried. Like my balance, I did a few games just messing around, literally messing around, because I don't have Lore Master. I'm not bothered to go farm or pay money for it, for it to be useful. So I haven't even really tried. I'm like, I just messed around, spammed some stupid spells, you know, messed around on that wizard. And then this wizard, you know, I've just been having fun. Like if I get a match that I don't like, I'll just flee, like, because it's like, I don't know, I don't really take this game seriously anymore because it's like such a joke now. Like anybody can beat anybody. Like the skill gap of this game is insanely like dumbed down now. Like I remember back in the day, you could win and beat somebody. Like this is like 2 years ago before they like touched PvP. You could beat somebody and then you could have like 3,000, 4,000 more health than them. But now like every match is literally a 1,000 or less like health difference because they've dumbed down the game. They've nerfed everything that like set players apart from other players. Like they got rid of the skill gap, and now literally anybody can win versus anybody. It's all like RNG deck pulls. Deck pulls is literally what the game is now. And also another big thing I have against removing pre-enchants is not the damage on the cards, but it was the fact that you could put cards in your side deck and pull from there, you know? So you could like actually pull the spells that you wanted, you know? Like you could like how I used to do my deck was I would put all defensive stuff, a few hits in the main deck, and then I would cycle through that whenever I needed it. And then whenever I wanted to attack, you know, I would pull from my side and I had to have my cards in the side to hit with, you know. But people are like, what was I saying? They like made it so you can't put your cards in the side. People are like, you can put in hits that are like treasure cards, you know, inside. But guess what? They banned all the storm cards. I don't even have like proper storm card. These are pre-enchanted from like back in the day when you could actually do that. You can't even you can't even put storm cards in your deck if you're storm. And second, they do not make enough treasure cards accessible to put in your side. Like, it's really hard to get treasure cards. Like, I don't even know how many weavers I have. I have 6, you know, and I haven't even used them. But I have 6, so that would last me like 2 matches, and then I would like be out. Because like these are hard to get, but back in the day you could just buy your enchants and make your treasure cards. And then they also don't even make Scion treasure cards. Like, they don't make 4-pip treasure cards. This is pre-enchanted. They don't make any like enough treasure cards. Like, this is pre-enchanted. They don't make these spells that you can put in your side. And you could be like, oh, just ask the devs to do it. But like, they have so much that they're like focused on. They're not gonna get around to doing it. Let's be honest. Even if they like, I mean, it's just not a priority to them. So now you have to put all your stuff in your main deck and everything, and it just makes a lot more like deck fail stuff. Like, obviously the better players are going to be able to cycle better than noob players, but the fact is the skill gap between like cycling is like not really a big thing. Like, everybody is basically luck of the draw. Like, you can cycle better, but it's not to the extent that it used to be, where you could just like pull from your side and do exactly what you wanted. Like back in the day, how I used to defeat Jades on my myth was like, I'd stun Medusa pigs, like blade pigs. You can't do that anymore because you just can't. You just can't do that. For one, they made it so you can't pack stuns in your side deck. That's another thing. They banned like half the TCs in this game because people are like, oh, it's broken. They banned like literally half the TCs in the entire game. You can't do bubbles, you can't do anything. You can't even put stuns in your side. Like, that's how I would do it. I would put stuns in my side so I could just pull the stun whenever I wanted. They banned this, they banned this, they banned this, they banned this, they literally banned everything. Like, it's so stupid. Like, PvP used to be so fun. You could put in different spells in your side deck. You could put in different spells. They even started banning like things in your main deck you can't use anymore. Like, the fact that you cannot use 6-pip new spell or anything that's spell limited like this is so stupid. Like, I haven't even reset it because I'm not even doing PvP because it's so bad. Like, why would I spend 100 crowns and reset these spells so I can just play PvP? Like, this is so stupid. Why did they ban this? Like, they're gonna ban the entire spell library at this point. It's like, guys, can we just like stop listening to bad players who complain about everything and just let us play the game? Like, how is this banned, bro? Like, this spell is garbage. Like, it is so bad. Why is this spell banned? It is literally garbage. I never use this spell. Like, I'd throw in one for a meme, you know, when I'm messing around. But like, I'd never use this spell ever. But it's banned because like it doesn't follow the Rochambo wheel or something like that. But the Catalan, they turned into a weakness. And Catalan used to do the same thing as Handsome Fomori. I'd use Handsome Fomori if it was a weakness, you know. But they turned Handsome Fomori into a storm weakness. Who the heck is gonna use this? Like, it's, dude, come on, man. Like, at least let us keep this. Now we have to farm spell elements to use a spell that I'm never gonna use, so I'm not even gonna farm it. Like, because this spell's garbage anyway. It's just insane. Like, I don't get their decision making, man. Like why is this banned? Like, dude, like even the base version is banned. Like, what? Why is that banned? That nobody used this. Nobody used that spell. Like, it's really stupid. I just don't get it. I don't get what direction they're trying to go with this game. And it like alienates players because, for one, you can't even craft your spells and go into PvP anymore. You have to, so like Craftier Knight, it's banned from PvP. You have to farm spell elements. You have to farm for 75 spell elements before you can even use your spell in PvP. This creates such a big barrier to entry. Like, I don't even have max spirit spell elements because I haven't been bothered. I'm like, dude, I'm not wasting my life farming for spell elements or buying packs for them. I have max elementals, but I'm not gonna like farm for those spell elements and waste my life away just to play PvP that is bad, you know? Like, dude, what the heck? Why is this? Has to be a glitch, right? That this is banned. Maybe because I'm on my ice and I have these spell elements. Why is this banned? I hope it's a glitch. I know these are banned, but why is this banned, dude? It's the base version. So you're telling me you have to farm spell elements to even use your spells that you literally learn in PvP. It's like, what the heck, man? Spell elements and Rochambos are like the worst, my worst complaints about this game right now. Like, I farmed for this. Like, it took me forever because it's behind this gold ski boss, but I wanted it, a gold key boss. They also banned minions. I mean, they'll unban them eventually, but it's like, dude, everything's banned from this game now, and it's like, I can't even remember how I got off on this rant about banning things, but you know, back in the day, like, we'd complain about stuff, and the devs weren't there to hold our hands in PvP, so like we would complain, but like nobody would be listening, which like kind of liked it back then, because you would be forced to adapt, and you would be forced to, like, I don't know, ice ward if ice ward was overpowered. I would balance ward, I would fire ward because of fire beetle. It was so stupid back in the day, fire beetle. I'd take that PvP over this. I'd take going second to fire and getting fire beetled versus this PvP. Like, this PvP, man, I'm sorry, it's just not it. It's really not. It's just not fun. There's the competitive community is gone. Like the leaderboards. There used to be like so many people that were like well known and like PvP'd all day on the leaderboards. You know, like I was one of those people. I loved this game. Like now, I bet you're not even gonna see a high rank match. Like there was always a high rank match going on back in the day. Like there's no high rank matches. No 1800 ranked matches. There's no high ranks that play the game. And look at how dead the queue is. There's 2 pages, man. Like there used to be like 5 pages at least before all these changes happened. Like you can't even do team PvP anymore, which is another thing that they got rid of. You can't do tournaments. You can't do practice PvP. You can only do ranked PvP, and ranked PvP is like, ugh. Like I don't want to do that all the time. Like for one, it's not fun, and because of what they've done to the game, and for two, like even back in the day when I was addicted to Wiz, like I would not rank PvP all the time. I would do more tournaments and practice than I would ranked. I don't know, it's just I just really don't appreciate the direction that they've taken the game in. I know that the devs like think that they have the best in mind for the game, but like there's players like me that like were addicted to this game. Like I used to watch YouTube videos of like PvP like all the time. Like I literally consumed so much content about how to PvP and like different PvPers styles and everything back in the day. So I became really good and like understood how the game worked, you know. And I feel, and there's like other people that were like good, probably did the same thing, or like were just naturally good at the game, and they just understood how the game worked, you know. They should have been the people that were like the people that were listened to when it came to like how to fix PvP. Not like, I'm sorry, but the devs, like, they don't know how to PvP. Like, it's not a dig at them, but they design the game, but they're not good at PvP. No offense to them. They just don't know how to PvP. Like, if there was a 2K ranked dev that got to 2K before turn-based came out, or somebody that was like actually really good at PvP on the team making decisions, like I'd be like, yeah, that's probably the right direction to go. But like the people that get listened to now, okay, so for one, like most of the people that were good at PvP have quit the game or don't PvP anymore at all because it's so bad. So all the people that get listened to now are like YouTubers that have like 500 rank or like YouTubers that used to have like 600 or 700 rank before all these like changes happened, and now anybody can win. Like I haven't even tried to get to Marshall on this character because I'm like, what's the point? Like anybody can beat anybody. I'm not trying to like do all this like grinding for spell elements just to play a game that like I already have played a little bit of, and I'm not even having fun like I used to, you know. I guess Alex, this is Devo. He's pretty decent. He was pretty decent back in the old days. Me and him used to fight a lot. There's Stefan. Like you don't see anybody that was like good at the game. You know, I mean, like these people are good at the game, obviously. Like they're pretty good, but you don't see like as many people. Like back in the day, like there were names in the arena that were like notorious, you know, like you would see them and you'd be like, oh shoot, that person like loves Wiz, like they're obsessed with the game, they'll beat you, like they know how to PvP, you know, and you like fear them. But now it's like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's not the same. And it's like PvP has gone downhill so much. Like there's not skill like there used to be. Like back in the day there was obviously a skill gap. Like back in the day, like literally, it's when I say back in the day, it's not even that long ago. It was like 2 years ago, like 3 years ago, before they made all these changes. When I like when 120 was max, I would say that was like when I was like so obsessed with Wiz, like my peak of Wiz obsession, like on this character, my ice, I got to 2K, no boosting, no ghosting, and this was pre-turn based. Like I loved the game so much. Like I would like see who was in queue and like I wouldn't set for them, but I would like, you know, be like, oh, is this like a person that I can take? Like back in the day, you can kind of like tell who was in queue based on like if they were online or if they were PvPing before, so you could guess like who you were gonna get. And there's like people that I would like try not to get because I was like, I don't want to fight them. Like, man, like it's gonna be a hard fight. Or there's like people that are like, you know, you could take, you know, like you know that you can outplay them or your strategy counters theirs. You know, I wouldn't do that all the time, but like those are just like some fun memories that I had. I want to go to a non-crowded realm. I'm not trying to see people talking. I don't know. This video is probably way too long about me reminiscing about Wiz, but anyway, back in like 2020, literally I could take, like, this is gonna sound so stupid and so like overconfident, but I'm not kidding. Like okay, I'm just gonna say like now I'm not as good as I used to be at the game because like I don't really get on that much. I don't PvP all the time. I don't study the meta like I used to, but like back in the day, I like could take anybody that was like under Warlord. Like if I saw that I got somebody in a tournament that was like under Warlord, I'd be like, oh, this is free wins. And like I could tell before the match even started, like if I went first, it was like over, you know, it was like over. I was like, oh, this is easy, I got this. Like there was a skill gap, you know, that you could just take out players that were not as good as you easily. And like they've gotten rid of a lot of the things that made there be a skill gap. Like they've nerfed things, they've gotten rid of pre-enchants, they've gotten rid of things that people complain about. So basically everybody's just at the same field, you know. And like people are like, oh, well, you used a broken strategy. I didn't really use broken strategies, I just knew how to counter the broken strategies. Like that was the difference. Like people like back in the day, they would complain about Jades all the time. Dude, I hated Jades. They were so annoying. But the thing is, I and other people that were actually good at the game, we knew how to counter them. And that's how we got high rank, because we literally knew how to counter every strategy that was thrown our way, you know? Not have the devs nerf them. Like, now everybody's like screaming to nerf anything that they lose to, you know? That's just like another thing. Like, the skill gap is gone in this game. If this queue was like set up like how it is now, you can verse anybody if you're in the arena. Like warlords can verse like corporals and stuff. Back then, I wonder what my rank would have been, because like back then when I was like kicking it, obsessed with the game, you know, kicking it at the game, I was like confident that I could take down anybody, you know, based on like before the match I knew if I lost, like if I went second to like a notorious person that like I knew that I couldn't beat from first, I was like, oh, they won because like they went first. Or I could be like, oh, I like had this match in the bag even though I'm second, because I can just tell because of their rank. Or like I had like a 75 estimate, like 75% chance of winning, you know, back in the day. I wonder what my rank would have been like now, like versing anybody in the arena like you do now. Like back then, if I was still obsessed with the game and if there was still like a skill gap like there was back then, I wonder what my rank would be now. That sounds so stupid and like so full of myself, but I'm not that full of myself. Like I'm not actually that good at the game right now because I haven't played it in forever. It's not like I'm like the best PvPer ever. I'm just saying it that like people that like were good at the game, you know, they would win like 70% of the time or 90% of the time versus somebody that wasn't. But now anybody can win. There's no skill gap anymore, you know. Like there's obviously people that are better at me than PvP. Once again, I'm not trying to like say that I'm like, oh, I'm so good at PvP. I'm just like trying to give examples of how the game has deteriorated skill gap wise over time. I don't know. The game is just not fun anymore, you know? Like it's just not competitive anymore. Like there was people that were like high ranks. They would be on all the time. They would be PvPing. They would be like, also another thing that they did that like really killed the PvP queue is they took out the opportunity to talk to people in a match or people that you were fighting. Now me, I like never trash talk people because I don't want to be that guy. I would only like talk back if they like initiated it, but I like would try not to, like I would never like initiate it because I didn't want to get banned or anything or muted. And you know, just trash talking can sometimes lead to that. But like back in the day, there was be people that would like kind of beef with each other. It wasn't like insane. If like some people took it too far, they like started like harassing you. You would just put them on ignore, which is what I did. But like, friendly back and forth, like competitive nature, like, oh, like I beat you from second, or like, and like that kind of encouraged community and like build like relationships and like encourage you to get better, and like I don't know, it just added a dynamic to the game that the game doesn't have now. And then also the fact that you could like befriend your opponents because you were like talking throughout the match of like what you could do better and stuff, and like you could even talk to your friends like in the match. Like now you can't even text chat your friends if they're in the PvP match. It says, oh, sorry, this player is like busy in PvP. It doesn't let you text chat. But like back in the day, you could like text your friends when you're PvPing and be like, oh, what move do you think I should do? Or like you could like help them out. You could be like, oh, I think he's gonna like fire beetle, like like shield, and like it added like more community into the game, and like more like friendship and stuff like that, which social aspect of the game like helps people come back and want to get on, because you're friends, you're like PvP and you're 2v2ing with your friends, you're doing tournaments, you're slaying people in 2v. But now nobody does tournaments. Nobody does 2v2. Like I used to do 2v2 all the time with one of my good friends. It was so much fun. Some of my best memories is the tournament 2v2s that we did. Like, man, so much fun. So many fun times. It's just, I don't know, just I would say that the PvP updates are just, they've killed the game. I'm sorry to say it, but they really have. Like the skill gap is gone. Rochambos are terrible. They like lower the skill gap even more because you can't do the thing that I was talking about earlier with the infection stuff, like countering heals. Just so many things, man. Like also the fact that the barrier to entry has gotten so high with spell elements, and like the new world, like it's pretty hard to farm gear now. So like that's even excluding more people. So you have to like spend a ton of time to get ready for PvP. But back in the day, you could just like level up a character, make a pet, do Magus PvP if you wanted. Like I do Magus, but like the world is free. Like the first few worlds are free. I would level up a character and do like grand PvP, but I'm not gonna do that on a second account because I have to farm for these spell elements, and I'm not trying to do that. Like I don't want to put that much time into Wiz just to do PvP that I don't even think is fun anymore. And has like no sense of like skill. Like the better player won't always win. Like obviously back then the better player didn't win because of how much RNG was in the game, but that was still better than how it is now. Like especially with the fact that you could like beat people from second. Back in the day you'd be like, oh, I beat this person from second, that feels so good, or like you like beat somebody that got like 3 times as many shadow pips as you. Like that was so like frustrating, but like when you did beat them, it was like heck yeah. Like the game was just more fun back then, like it was not perfect at all. Like the game is obviously way more balanced now. Like it is so much more balanced for sure, but it's not fun. It's just not fun anymore. Like broken things were fun to use and they were fun to deal with. Like you would get good and like learn how to counter things. And then you could also make a wizard and like spam lore master if you wanted. Like I used to get mad when I would lose to balance wizard, so I made a balance ward pet, and then I also made it balance so I could spam lore master back, and it was a lot of fun. But there's nothing like that's another thing. Like old spells like Guardian Spear, Insane Bolt, Lore Master, it used to like incentivize, like for me at least, it used to make me want to make a school that was different so I could use those OP spells just to like see what it was like, and that like motivated me to make balance and a life in a storm because of those spells. But like now there's no spells anymore. They're like OP. Like every school had something broken back then. Like Death had Juju, Life had Guardian, Fire had Rampage, Ice had Abominable Weaver, Fire had Ifrit and Fire Beetle. The list goes on. But like the game is so much more balanced now, which like it is what it is. Some people prefer that, but it's just not fun anymore. Like the fun is gone. Like they made the game so clunky, and like it's just, I don't know. Like I'd have to like make an essay on like what's wrong with the game, like what went wrong, and like do a video on that if you guys really want to see that. But like the game's just not good anymore. Like there's no skill gap, like I've been saying. I've just been messing around on this wizard and like all my wizards except for my Exalt when I was like trying to get Marshall that one time, because like Exalted was fast paced and like you could put hits in your side deck, so it kind of reminded me of like back when I would put hits in my side deck and just pull them whenever I wanted, and like I don't know. I miss those days when you could like just get the cards that you wanted and outplay your opponent, because you're like, oh, you know that they messed up on that round, you know the perfect move to counter their mistake, you know. But now you can't do that because you're like, oh, I didn't pull the card to counter their immature mistake that they made, like a mistake that like a new player would make, like leaving themselves open on a crucial turn. You can't just like pull for your card to punish that, you know. You have to be like, oh shoot, I didn't get this card on my turn when I drew like from my main deck, you know. I can't punish them. Oops, hopefully I get it next turn. And then they leave themselves open again, and they're like, man, I hope I get this card to punish them. Oh, nope, didn't get it. Deck RNG didn't work. Oh well. And then they shield, and then you get the next turn, and it's like, oh dang, man. It's like anybody can win. It's just RNG with the deck now. It's like I preferred other RNG that you could actually use your skill with your deck and with your card knowledge to overcome. Now it's RNG of the deck. It used to be RNG of going second in shads and stuff like that, which you could use your spells to outplay sometimes, but sometimes it would be too much. But a lot of the time you could outplay it with your spell knowledge, and that was a good feeling, like, because it is a card game, you know. You're like using your brain and your knowledge of the cards to outplay. But now it's just RNG, no skill gap. Anybody can win in this game now. It's like, man, and Rochambos, they have really just done damage to this game. I know a lot of people like them, but you have to, like, I don't know. It's just, I could do a whole video on why these are bad for the game. And, like, all my friends that, like, PvP'd, like, that have quit, like, they all agree, like, pretty much all of them agree that these were horrible. And me, since I wasn't, like, a 2009 head, like, I wasn't, like, somebody that was, like, oh, like, I can tell from the moment that these came out that they're bad. Like, some of my friends that, like super good, Corwin, Shadow Forge, like, he's an insane player. He's like one of the best players, I would say, ever to touch the game. When he saw these come out, he's like, dude, this is horrible. And, like, for me, I was like, I mean, I'll give it a chance, you know, like, sounds cool countering some of these blades, but after playing it out, dude, this is horrible for the game, man. It's horrible. It's terrible for the game, these cards. And I'm just like, oh, he predicted that, you know. And another thing with turn-based is, like, back, I used to be, like, a big advocate for turn-based, and turn-based is cool and all, and I think it should be an option, but I think there was an element of skill that turn-based erased. And back in the day, I was, like, kind of ignorant. I was like, oh, anybody that says that turn-based is bad is just, they always go first, you know. But actually, there was an element of skill that turn-based erased, and that's, like, predicting what your opponent's gonna do. Like, the fact that you could predict what they were gonna do when you were second, and, like, if you predicted right, you won, you know. That was pretty cool. That was an element of skill, like playing matches, you know how people are gonna play, you know, because you played so many matches. That's an element of skill that turn-based has gotten rid of. Back in the day, like, I did not understand that, and I was pretty ignorant in that fact. You know, but over time, and, like, playing more and, like, just, like, thinking about the game, I've noticed that it was, like, pre-turn based, there was a layer of skill that you had to have to win from second. Like, I would win from second, but sometimes, but then there would be sometimes when, like, going second, obviously a dispel at the wrong time that you don't predict just ruins the entire game, and you just lose because they went first and could dispel and you couldn't react to it. Which that was a horrible feeling, you know, and that was so stupid, like, such a stupid feeling, you know. It's like, man, just because they went first, they won, you know. But, like, at the same time, there was a lot of, like, you know, skill that came with being able to play the game and, like, learn how to play from second, you know. I was one of those people that absolutely hated the turn system, you know. I was, like, a big advocate, and Corwin was like, no, turn base is gonna be bad for the game. And I'm like, nah. And, like, even up until, like, now, like, I mean, like, a few months ago, I was like I would say a year ago, I was like, yeah, turn-based is better. Like, I see the benefits of both. Like, I like turn-based because I hated going second, but I do see the point of the fact that turn-based did kind of get rid of some of the skill gap. That's just, like, another whole thought. I don't think that they should completely go back to non-turn-based. I think there should be an option. But, I mean, now they've catered the game to be a turn-based focus, so there's really no going back right now, honestly, unless you made a classic PvP mode, which I would love, you know. Because you're not going to be able to counter these Rochambos from second. Like, that's going to be impossible, you know. But, yeah, those are just my thoughts, you know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, And if you want to see like different videos, I'm kind of bad about videos, but this has been a long video. Thanks for watching. I apologize. It's been so long, you know. It's just like me trying to talk about what I think about the game and stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great New Year's, you know, New Year, you know. And thanks for watching. You know, peace to all y'all, even you guys that have beefed with me in the past in PvP. You know, back in the old days, we used to have beef and stuff, like friendly beef. You know, competitiveness. Y'all are chill, and I hope everybody just has a new year. You know, it's Wiz. No need to hold actual beef over this game. You know, it's especially now. It's like such a joke now. You know, so just have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you later.